Good morning, everybody. It is June 6th. I'm Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Welcome to the Victoria Real Estate Show with...
Hey everybody, Andrew Plank here with LePage and the Vibe Real Estate Group, and I love the energy you just brought, Jane.
Awesome. And who else do we have?
Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with DLC Modern Mortgage Group.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
How were your weeks?
Yeah.
Great. I thought yesterday was Thursday. As you guys know, I was keen.
You were already in the system, were you? Like just waiting for us to show up?
Yes, I was ready.
No. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So excited to talk about the rate cut.
Yeah, there you go.
How was your week,
we could have jumped on that. Yeah, pretty busy. Multiple offers on a property. Not my listing. We did not get it, but 7 offers came in on that one. So
wow.
Yeah, it's in that price point for starter home. Very rare kind of property. I'm very curious to see what it actually ended up selling for, because it was definitely better than I expected when we viewed it, based on what I was imagining, based on the price.
You're gonna have to text me the address so I can have a look at it.
Okay, will do.
We have a couple of listings coming up. Hopefully, I'm going to find out today whether or not we're actually going to go ahead. But we had a good May, very good May, after a very quiet spring, it felt like. So one of those things. Okay, we have a long show today. We're going to be doing the stats, and Jen's going to be talking about what she heard about the Bank of Canada interest rates and how that's going to... We're going to postulate how that's going to affect our market. Okay, so Victoria Real Estate Update, June 6th, 2024. First of all, if you do like the show, please like it on our YouTube pages. Please subscribe to us. Don't forget to comment. And if you know somebody who would need this information, please share it. Andrew, take it away, buddy.
Okay, so we're going to start with the right side first, and we're talking about what just happened in the last week. So in the last week, today being June 6th, so the last week before that, new listings, 448. Jane's already yawning. Should have talked more excitedly.
I've been up since 5:30.
I know. The minute we start doing numbers, though, everybody's yawning.
Not me.
No. Yeah, no, we certain segment of the audience. Okay, so new listings, 448. Pending sales, 193. So definitely under half. I think Jane said it was 38%, 40%.
43%.
43% list to pending ratio. So we say that list to sale ratio. Price decrease is 175. So definitely still loads of people dropping price and bringing them aligned into the market. 7 price increases, 6 back on markets, 301 sold because it was the beginning of the month within the week. And that's pretty common to see. And 82 properties expired, also generally often expiring at the beginning of the month. Another yawn. Sorry, Jane. So, and then compare that to last week. I'll take that too. 349 listings were listed. That's much less than the 448 this week. 167 properties went pending, a little less than the 193 this week. 167 price decreases, pretty close to the same. And then 222 sold, 40 expired.
Yeah, end of the month rush, I find. Don't plan anything with a realtor at the end of the month. Okay, months to date. So in June so far, well, actually, I'm wondering, this must be for the month of May. Yes, it is. So net unconditional sales at the end of month were 763. That's compared to 775 for May of 2023. And that's up from 611 the week before. New listings were for month of May, 1,757. So that's up again from last year, which was 1,356. And week over week, it's up over 1,441 for a total of 3,338 listings. in May of 2024 compared to 2,189. So we're definitely in more of a buyer's market, I would say. And just the percentage, so this week list to sale ratio was 43% and last week it was 48. However, I think that's because many people were busy with closings,
Right. Okay.
waiting for the new month to start.
You know, I also find weather makes a difference too, and we've had some changes in the weather. Like when the weather sort of is unpredictable, I find people, for whatever reason, aren't as out there active doing things. If it's been nice for a while, they become active. If it's been bad for a while, it's becoming active. But when it's variable, yeah, Jen's nodding her head. Do you notice that in your business too?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Even myself, you know, when the weather is not so nice, I'm quite happy to be at home watching Netflix and, you know,
Yeah.
but then when the weather's nicer, you're going out for hikes, driving around, checking things out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a toss up of whether or not you have an open house on like a crappy weather weekend or not, right? Just for that reason.
Hard to plan the weather.
Hard to plan the weather. Okay, so we have this interesting interest rate announcement. So the Bank of Canada much anticipatedly reduced the interest rate from 5 to 4.75. So what does that mean, my darling Jennifer?
What it means is that this will translate into prime rate, the bank's prime rate. So the bank's prime rate is 7.2. Or prior to the announcement yesterday, it will reduce to 6.95 today.
Okay. Today. And is that what's called the overnight lending rate?
The Bank of Canada is the overnight lending rate. Prime rate.
So
The difference between the overnight lending rate and prime rate is basically profits for the bank, right? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, explain this slide.
Yeah. So, yeah, numbers wise, well, just to take one step back. So, what does this reduction in prime rate mean? So, for those of us, myself included, that have a variable rate mortgage, the amount of interest that you're paying is reduced by 0.25%. Different banks, there's a adjustable rate mortgage and a variable rate mortgage. The variable rate has a payment that will change when prime rate changes. So based on it, for every $100,000, your payment will be reduced by $15.48 with this rate cut of 0.25%. So I use the average mortgage amount of $500,000. Your payment's going to go down $77.40.
I have a question. What percentage of mortgages are coming up for renewal that were fixed rate, like over the past 4 years?
I'd have to look that up. Quite a few of my clients, just speaking for myself, are in fixed rates that are coming up for renewal this year.
Okay.
So I'd say about 75%.
And how does that align for, you know, the big fear has been that there's people coming up for renewal and they've got these fixed rates and the rates have been so high. What kind of average of the fixed rates, like what's the gap of what they're going to be looking at if they're going to be coming into either a new fixed rate or a new variable from what typically you're seeing for the current round of fixeds?
It's an interesting conversation that I'm having with my clients that are coming up for renewal, as depending on how they are faring financially, with how everything else is costing more money. We're looking at the option of increasing the amortization up to help with cash flow if that's something that's needed. But on average, interest rates are going up about 2%. From what people were locked in at 5 years ago.
And okay, so using that $500,000 average mortgage, and you said a quarter basis point is $77.
Yes.
So
reduction.
2%, right?
Yeah.
A reduction, but these folks are going to be paying an increase of 2%.
Yes. Yes.
So 2%. There's 4 of those quarter points in there. So 4 times 77.
Yeah.
So what's that? 200. It's $300 around.
Mhm. Yeah.
That they're going to be seeing on a $500,000 mortgage. Their mortgage is going to go up about $300 a month.
320.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to look at it for sure.
Okay, so good to know.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of us have all been living it. Now they're going to be feeling it. It's going to be a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for them. Everybody, benefits or come on, Sid. Benefits or does not from the decisions they made in the past, and but now we've got a new round of decisions to make. Do you lock in and hope that this round of continuing do you lock in or do you go variable and hope that it's going to go down?
Well, and that's the interesting challenge now, is that now we're looking at the decline in interest rates has started. And the expectation is that rates are going to continue to decline, potentially 1% this year. And looking to 2025, we're looking at probably about 1.75, almost 2% decrease. So does that open up the option of going with a variable rate moving forward?
So what's fixed and variable right now? For what are two good rates?
So a great fixed rate right now we can get is 4.74. And the variable, so now with the new prime at 6.95, a good variable would be 5.95.
5.95, and that's based on prime minus what? Yeah,
prime minus 1.
Minus 1. Okay.
So what would you do
right now? Well, right now I would go variable, because variable is normally lower than fixed. When we look historically, you're supposed to pay a premium, or the concept is you're supposed to pay a premium to have that peace of mind and knowing what your rate is, that your rate is fixed for a time period.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 years or 27 months, it has not been that way.
Right.
If people are thinking of selling as well, it's better to be variable, right? Because there's more flexibility.
Yes, because as rates start to come down, the bank's posted rates will change, and that's going to increase penalties on fixed rate mortgages.
Okay.
Right. So that becomes a challenge if you're buying and selling, but breaking your current mortgage, right? If you're just porting your mortgage over, that's less of a concern.
There's no penalty. No. Yeah. If you're porting a mortgage, there's no penalty. But now that, if the trend's moving towards people wanting to go with a variable rate, they want to get out of their fixed rate, and their penalty is now significantly higher.
This reminds me of when I got into real estate with you, Andrew. We were in meetings and people were talking about this, and I think interest rate was around 6% or something, maybe 8 or 6%, and we were watching it going down.
When we first got licensed in 2006, and it's been a while since I was licensed. I haven't gone through the course, but I'm not sure if they're as heavy in teaching, mortgage calculations and so forth, because, at the time, just a little bit before 2006, when I bought a home in 2002, I remember we were looking around and all kinds of sign toppers said, assumable mortgage at X%. This percentage, interest rates were much higher. And if you could get somebody's fixed mortgage, assume that mortgage, you could actually save a bit of money, and actually had value. It had really good value for it. It made a difference in what you were paying per month, and it made a difference in the value of the home that you could actually calculate and quantify. But we don't really do that as much anymore. We don't really see people saying, assumable mortgage, like come and buy this home.
Well, I have had clients who have been giving up amazing fixed rate mortgages, but to qualify, you need the exact amount of money, and you need like the credit score, and the bank doesn't want to do it because they know they're going to lose money on it.
Yeah.
So it's
I've
become harder
never-
to assume a mortgage, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's put out as like a feature of the mortgage, but in being in this industry for 20 plus years, I've never ever done an assumable mortgage.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lots of
yeah, and I do,
inquiries about it, but not actually, it's never worked out.
oh, that's the dirty secret of the industry. That's our next
Yeah.
episode.
Okay, so let's talk about the market. What's been happening? Andrew, do you want to go through this one? This is the total active MLS listing.
This is a person reclining on their side. You can see the profile. Sorry, they got a bit of a belly. What has been happening? We've got a big round of. Wait, gotta get a laugh from somebody.
Aren't you tired?
Jane knows me too well. She's just like, whatever, Andrew, just get
Yeah,
on.
yeah, that's exactly what's up.
Yeah, so you can see again the annual cycle of the bump up in inventory in the spring. If we go back to 2022, and then comes back down in December 2022, and then it starts to ramp up again in the spring of 2023, and then it drops pretty precipitously in the end of 2023, and then it starts to round up again. But it's been every year going, these waves, these tides have been going higher and higher, and this last one is pretty steep as well. Our active listing inventory has been pretty high. But the one thing I do note, and I mean, it just looks at that very last bit of it. It looks like maybe it's on the edge of starting to curve. Who knows? I think that we're going to start seeing the inventory start to curve, not down yet, but start to soften, just like we've seen the curves in these other past markets. So this is not going to be a continuous up till we have infinite inventory. It's going to start to curve over as we move into. In the past, it was September, October, but you can see in August. Actually, it started in June of 2022 to July 2022. You can see it starts to curve down a bit and then up a bit. So anyway, I think we're going to start to see that too, because especially with this lower interest rate, I think consumer confidence is going to come back in a little bit, and people are going to start buying a little bit more, and that'll take that'll bring some heat to the market. Not a high burn, but a little bit.
A slow burn.
Okay.
Alrighty, and so total MLS listings and sales. We have what Andrew was talking about. We have our spring and summer markets. You can see last year we went down in December of 2022. This is usually our lowest time. We actually went down further in January of 2023, which is unusual. So December 2023 is more normal than seeing so few sales happening. Wow, that's really incredible, actually. Anyway, so the market, it's funny, you perceive these things and then you see them statistically that they're happening. The market felt like it kind of like shifted about 2 months last year, and then it started to pick up in May. And we had our spring market, a little bit of a late spring market. This year, we followed the same pattern, actually, but we started out more strongly with listings off the bat, and our list to sale ratio wasn't so great. It gave the buyers a lot of choice. What happens when there's choice? When you have 10 properties that you're trying to see and you can only see 4, you feel more urgency than if you can see all 10. And that's what happens. Is that everything slows down because people realize that they have choice. So we're seeing record number of listings, I think, since probably 2019. And our list to sale ratio here is definitely under 50%. Let's see. Right here. 30%.
This is the ironic time where buyers have the most selection and the ability to buy their dream home, and things are fairly stable. And if you're looking to buy and sell, you're still like in a market that's going to be fairly stable. and yet nobody is, emboldened to act. I mean, some smart people are, but it's funny because people are waiting until everyone else is moving, the lemming effect, I guess, to hear that the market is doing well before they start to take action. But at that point, there's no inventory left and there's no choice, and they're competing with everyone. So this is the time, folks.
Yeah.
So why is it that so the buyer's market, when it's the list to sale ratio is 10 to 20% and balance market is 20 to 30? Why is there such a big gap from the balance to the sellers?
I think that's just our slide. If we could move that sellers down.
It's balanced from 30% up.
30% up. Okay.
Which doesn't make sense. But it's balanced around 30%. Then it turns into a seller's market. And like when your list to sale ratios over 30%, you're in a seller's market. That's what we're saying.
Over 30%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're actually not far from a seller's market. Like, we're not close. Like, it depends where the market. I think we're going to actually be moving into a seller's market.
This is actually, it reflects what you were saying earlier, Andrew. If you have a well-priced property, you're going to get a lot of action on it and it's going to sell quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have something that's overpriced, like people ask me, what are you going to list this at? What do you expect the sale price at? Well, I'm expecting to list it at the sale price. That's how I do my market analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So some people go, here's your range. If you want slow, if you want to sell, relatively fast, or if you want really fast. And I'm like, this is where you should be selling. Anyway.
That's fine. That's the conversation I generally have is, this is the pool of buyers out here. And if you want to be attractive to the majority of them, reasonably attractive, like to the majority of folks that are actually looking in that price point, this is the price point you want to be at. But if you're up here, you're going to miss out on folks. But if you're down here, you're going to be appealing to everyone and their dog. So, what do you want to do though? Because it really depends on the seller's motivation, and it also depends on the property strategy. Sometimes does mean going, starting at a lower price than what we think the market will bear. But at the end of the day, Jane, I agree with you in terms of the best advice is start with the end in mind. Like, the cats are having a fun time. They're crashing, and start with the end in mind. Like what is gonna get this property sold, and what price point is going to do that. What price point isn't going to do that? That's here. What price point is going to do that here? And if we're below here, it's still going to do it, but you're going to get maybe a faster sale or better terms. And if that's of interest to you, that's something you might want to consider.
A faster sale and better terms.
Who wants that?
Who wants that? Okay. Looking at average price over the past 2 years, in May of 2022, we were at 1.4. That's when the slide started to happen. We saw the interest rates increase. How many? 7 times.
Yeah.
And we're now at the first time that the interest rates have been going down in, what is it? 4 years?
27 months.
27. Oh, so 2, that makes sense. So our average price now is around 1.3. I'm finding now the range is better. So we're seeing more houses that are less than $1 million now than we used to. Definitely over 2 years. I think if you were to look back at this over a long time, it would look fairly flat. What do you think, Andrew?
What, the average house price?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it goes, I find it sort of doubles every 10 years on average. But
I mean, over these past 2 years, it kind of, except for.
Oh, if you just sort of blur your eyes really carefully and sort of look at this line from a distance, it could average out to being about, I mean, we start at a higher point and end at a slightly lower point, but overall it has actually been really flat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Around 1.25, 1.275. Okay, Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, so again, squint your eyes really carefully and you're going to see that this is, it started a little higher in May 2022, and that was, as we do this every month, that line is going to disappear, and we're going to stop seeing that high point, and the next high point is May 2023 or so. But overall, we were up at a couple of high points. We've been down at a couple lower points, but the market has bounced back again and been fairly stable for the last number of months.
Okay, so what I'm reading into this, if you want a deal, buy in December. If you want to pay more money, buy in March or April. Right?
Yeah. So we always ask our clients, do you want to pay more or less? Let's buy here. That being said, let's play devil's advocate. This is not a good example because the market has actually gone down year over year, but on average, markets go up year over year. So if we look at December 2022, and if we were in December 2022, actually, let's look at December 2024. December 2024 probably will be higher than December 2023. I think in terms of average price. And if you're going to say, well, we're going to wait till then to buy, that's possible, but it still could be that you're paying, like you can see here, I don't know what I'm trying to say, except just don't wait to buy in December if you're in January or February, because you could still end up in a market that is much, much higher. But if you're in September and the market is about flat, you're going to pay less in December. If you're in September and the market is going gangbusters, you're still going to pay more in December than you would have. Market still goes up, folks. Jane, do you want to decipher what I just said?
No.
Well, I can add to that. In December of 2022 and December 2023, I remember both these time periods going, we really could use a rate drop. Can we just have a rate drop? And we did not receive a rate drop. And I see those are definitely the two low points too.
So it was exacerbated by the fact that the interest rates were also really hitting people.
It just goes to show you that if you can save up money and pay with cash, that you are at an advantage because you're not susceptible, and you can buy when other people are susceptible, unfortunately. Okay, row townhouses, these tend to vary quite dramatically. It depends on what's selling. But again, we see a low a low trend happening in January of 2023 and January 2024. But other than that, it's fairly flat from about July of 2022 around 850, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I want to say as well, guys, that, this trend for we're talking about with these low prices in December, January, that also can have to do with inventory, and people sometimes take their homes off market during that time. And then the people who really need to sell or desperate to sell maybe retain their properties on market, or just staying on market longer than some of the others. So we find that that's a time where there's a little bit more urgency from sellers, and you're finding a higher percentage of sellers who are urgent or have that subjective feeling of I've got to sell. And it's a dark times. Days are short. It's cold. It's wet. It's uncomfortable. People are not happy. They're going to be taking less for their homes. In springtime, when everybody's optimistic and positive, it's going to be a different story. But my point is just that this is twofold. I think that there's less inventory on market as well, and I think some of that inventory is just representative of people who are like, let's just leave it on market over the holidays. It's vacant or it's whatever. And a lot of folks do take their homes off market during the holidays if it's a regular single family home, and they'll come back and they'll be asking more later.
I've gotten some great deals for clients in November and December just because we're like the only ones looking.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew hates this, but I love it.
You keep saying that, but
okay, units sold this month in May of 2022 2022 for Greater Victoria were 384. So for every realtor, there were 5 realtors for every sale. Last month we were up 18.5% and up 0.8% over last year. The average price was in May of 2024, 1,336,000. Last month it was 1,291,000, and last year it was 1,304,000. So we are doing better in price. So condos, 235 units. That's up 18.4% over last month, and we saw that the market looked like it was shifting. It's on par with what we had last year. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong line. 235 units sold, condos, up 13% over last month and down 5.2% from last year. And I think that's because we've had a glut of condos this year with the change in the ruling regarding short-term rental. So average price was $613 last month, which was up 1.3%. Over last month, which was 605,000. And last year it was 674,000. So it's interesting to see what's going on in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Row Town Homes, 91 sales. Average price was 836,000. That's up 0.9%, like just 1% over last month, down 2% from last year. So that's interesting. Last month they were at 828,000, and last year 853. So down, baby, down. So overall, the market, I would say, it's been a challenging year, but it looks like I'm anticipating it's going to end up being a good year. What do you think, Andrew?
No, I've been really positive about this year. I mean, it's been nice that it's been not crazy. I've had steady business. It's there's a lot of people still who are planning to buy or sell in the future with me, but there's not that same urgency, but there is just people are coming in and doing business and then moving on, and it's been a really good steady. And I just feel like with the interest rates targeted for going down, it's just going to bring more people to the table. And I think we're going to see that the spring market will continue a little longer. Not a super crazy hot market like we've seen in some of the past years, and I'm all fine with that. Just people ready and willing now to make some changes, because just financially and in their world and lives, it just makes sense.
I think our sophisticated buyers know that it was probably a good time to buy in the last few months, where people have kind of been hanging on. Like I have some investors who've been looking at condos who really sort of have seen an opportunity there and not waited for the interest rates. They're more cash buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's
Yeah, and that's the difference.
Uncertainty. So that uncertainty is now being removed with the projection of rates coming down, and that they have finally actually dropped.
Yeah.
But that certainty too comes from what people read or hear in the media. That certainty doesn't just come from, I mean, some people can read ahead and see the writing on the wall. Interest rates are going down. It's going to probably mean it, and typically means that prices go up. And that's because there's more demand. But there's other people who will be looking at the real estate board stats that are coming out that, show mediocre, not a lot happening. And those people reading that will maybe not feel as enthused because they're not seeing as far ahead as maybe some other people are. And then people are looking at assessed, there's a comment, like how a lot of people say, well, assessed value is this, they're asking this versus this, and it's a whole other conversation. But I just find that there's different metrics that people use, and you can have 5 different people in a room will look at it, 6 different ways.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because I think I mentioned before we started this show today, is I was doing a market analysis for a client, and I was trying to figure out, like, okay, it's a non-operational hobby farm, so it's just basically a big house on a big lot. And I was like, okay, and what's the actual useful square footage and all this stuff? And I was just going round and round and round and dialing in to get a number. And I think when you're looking at the market all the time, it's easy to go in and say, this is a good deal, or this isn't a good deal. This is showing well. This isn't showing well, to have the perspective. So, where I'm going with this is it's handy to have a realtor to show you, to give you the perspective of what you're looking at, because they're looking at everything every day. So just trust
Mhm.
trust your realtor. If they're an active realtor, that they're going to give you good advice based on the value of what you're seeing. And if they say stuff like, it's November, let's go and look at properties because we're going to get a good deal, trust that they're saying that because it's going to happen.
I mean, I feel like, you want to have a good relationship with your realtor, and you want to have a trust relationship with your realtor. It is hard for some people who either, number one, are just not trusting in themselves, or number two, have actually connected with a realtor who is more salesy than service related. Because then, listening to that, that's not a great combination for trust. And in fact, there are people who will try to put people into any old home. If you've got a pulse and a wallet, you're going to get connected up with something. So that, I think I just want to say what Jane said is use a little caution. Just make sure that you do. If you don't know the market, know the realtor.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Full-time realtor too, not a part-time realtor.
That can be helpful. Yeah. And that goes to actually being, having your pulse on the market, knowing you've been in and out of many homes recently, knowing you're watching the hot sheets come and go. And the same goes again for mortgage brokers as well. Is somebody really engaged, really involved? Is this what they do day in, day out? And we don't want people who live, breathe, real estate, live, breathe, and eat mortgage. We want people who are human and can help us, who know what they're doing because it's their chosen path and career.
I don't know. Are there many part-time realtors anymore?
Yes. Yeah, there are lots of them. Yeah,
Hmm.
we just don't see them as often because they're not doing as much business. But there's
Yeah.
lots of people who are out there part-time.
Yeah. Okay, predictions for interest rate this year. You were saying you expect more to go down. How much?
Hopefully, just over at least 1% by the end of the year would be amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. The Bank of Canada meets 4 more times. Their next meeting is July 24th.
Okay. And Andrew, what's your prediction for year?
July 24th. Just marking that in the calendar. Bank of Canada.
Yeah.
I wrote them down.
So my prediction for the rest of the year, I think it's going to be a steady summer. I think if the interest rates continue to go down, it will just continue to sort of that compound interest in terms of people feeling more and more confidence as they see that direction that things are going. And so by end of the year, we should be moving into a pretty busy 2025. All that depends really on world events as well and world economy. I'd say that would be the only caveat.
Mm-hmm.
But based on everything else, I think that this can only help.
Okay, I'm predicting we're going to see a little mini run maybe after July. See? Speaking of which, Andrew, do you have any new listings coming up or anything you want to mention?
No new listings coming up. I really am desperately looking for some real starter properties, like a house in the it could be the core. We're probably going to end up in the West Shore in this price point because we're really in the low 700s. So, 2 beds, 1 bath is fine, but would be nice to get some parking for some vehicles. It does exist. Like Kettle Creek has some beautiful little small homes, and they're newer out in Langford, and they're in the low 700s, but there's just not currently anything. You have one you recently sold out there, Jane. So that kind
Where?
of thing is what. You had a listing in Kettle Creek recently, didn't you?
Last year.
Oh, okay. It was last year. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was about a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And beyond that, like, I've got buyers who are going to be showing, I think they've identified one. We're going to pursue it. So we don't need to speak on that one. I've got folks looking for waterfront or not waterfront, but water view up to 2.5 million. It's probably anywhere from the peninsula closer to Victoria. They just really want to be able to walk to the water and have some sort of view, a really good view of the ocean. And so a single family home doesn't have to be large, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. I have a really nice listing coming up. It's on Lone Oak. So it's close to the highway. I'm not sure if you know of it. And that one is 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. I'm just bringing it up here. Hold on a second. Incomplete listings. Okay. So, and that one's 3,219 square feet. And I have another one coming up on Stannard in Fairfield. And that is
Been a few on Stannard lately.
Yeah. So that one is 2 bedrooms up, 2 bedrooms down with a 1 bedroom suite. So 1 bedroom's in the suite, 1's out. So we're just confirming. It was supposed to go live this week, so we'll see what happens.
Any idea on price point on that one?
The one on Stannard, maybe like 125, and the one on Lone Oak will be 125 as well. And that's a beautiful home. It's very well maintained.
Okay.
All right. I will close this out now. Andrew, how do people reach you?
You can reach myself in the Vibe Real Estate Group at 250-360-6106. You can reach me at email info@andrewplank.com, and check out the website andrewplank.com for lots of resources and business directory and so forth. And on Instagram, not just pictures of my cat, but recent thrift store finds. And that's going to be it.
Okay. Jen, how do people reach you?
Yeah, my cell number 250-217-4925. Email address is j.lowe@dominionlending.ca, and my website jenlowe.ca.
Okay, and if you guys want to reach me, I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. My number is 250-744-0775. My email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. And you can look at my listings at briarhillgroup.com and the show at victoriarealestateshow.com. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at realtyteacher_Remax_Victoria. I'm so tired. Or Briar Hill Group. This is the last time I'm getting up this early on a Thursday. Oh my God, it's driving me crazy. Okay, so see you guys next week. We're going to talk. We're going to be having our show on Friday next week because Andrew and I are going to an event. Hopefully Jen can come as well. And we're going to be talking. What are we going to be talking about again, you guys?
Next week? Well, why don't we talk about this one's about the new legislation, the event we're going to. So why don't we bring what we learn to the show? So we'll talk
and it's about
all
the
zoning and legislation that's been coming up down the pipe from the government. So
yeah. Okay. Thanks, you guys. Have a great week. We'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you.